Welcome to this video summary of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. This gripping mystery novel, published in 2022, follows the story of Millie Calloway, a young woman with a troubled past who is hired as a housekeeper by a wealthy woman named Nina Winchester. As Millie becomes Nina's caregiver, she uncovers dark secrets about Nina's past and begins to suspect that something sinister is happening in the house. Throughout the book, McFadden explores themes of power dynamics, victimhood, and abuse, adding layers of complexity to the story. In this video, we will take a closer look at the plot, characters, and themes of The Housemaid, and discuss why this book is a must-read for anyone who enjoys psychological thrillers. So, buckle up and get ready to dive into the intriguing world of The Housemaid. Before we dive into the intriguing world of The Housemaid, we have a small request. Our channel is just starting out, and we would love your help in reaching our goal of 1,000 subscribers this month. If you enjoy our content and want to see more, please consider subscribing and sharing our videos with your friends. Thank you for your support, and now, let's get back to our summary of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. The main characters of the novel are Millie Calloway, known as Millie, Nina Winchester, a wealthy middle-aged woman, Andrew Winchester, Nina's rich and handsome husband, and Enzo, the Winchesters' gardener. The prologue of The Housemaid sets the stage for the mysterious and thrilling story that unfolds in the book. We meet an unnamed housemaid who is filled with anxiety and fear as she frets about the possibility of being arrested after a body is found in the house where she works. As the story progresses, we are introduced to the main character, Millie Calloway, a young woman with a criminal past. Millie is beginning a new chapter in her life and leaving her troubled past behind her. She has applied for a housemaid position that the Winchesters advertised. Nina Winchester selects Millie and invites her home for an interview and shows her around the house. Nina explains that the job will involve some light cleaning and cooking duties. She also shows Millie the room in the attic where she will stay when she's not working. Millie is thrilled when she receives a call from Nina a few days later telling her that she got the job and can start working at the Winchesters' home the next day. However, when Millie arrives for her first day of work, she finds that the house is a complete mess, despite it being clean and tidy during her interview. However, Millie's initial excitement and anticipation soon give way to apprehension and unease when she is given a cramped attic room that can only be locked from the outside and has a window that cannot be opened. This sinister setup leaves Millie feeling trapped and vulnerable in her new surroundings, and she becomes increasingly nervous about her situation. Millie was warned by the gardener Enzo on her first day at the job. But Millie paid no heed to his warning. And now, she must suffer the consequences. As days pass by, Millie learns of Nina's antics. Or rather, gets a first-hand experience of Nina's mood swings. Nina asks Millie to pick her daughter Cecilia from school. But when Millie reaches school, she learns Cecilia has extra classes and her friend's mom would take her. Millie calls Nina only to hear, "I never told you to pick Cece." Millie is blamed for everything that's not her fault. The only person who seems to understand Millie's plight is Andrew, Nina's husband. He's handsome and rich. Millie cannot stop herself from being attracted to him. In response to Millie's concerns, Nina Winchester provides her with a key to her room and a new mobile phone, which seems like a small comfort at the time. But as the story unfolds and Millie delves deeper into the secrets and mysteries of the household, she realizes that there is much more at stake than she ever could have imagined. Millie is introduced to Nina's handsome husband, Andrew, and their charming 9-year-old daughter, Cecilia. After meeting the family, Millie spends several hours meticulously cleaning the dirty and disorganized house before preparing a delicious dinner for the family. Andrew is impressed with her cooking skills and kindly invites her to join them for the meal. However, Millie politely declines the invitation as she notices that Nina seems to be irritated. Later that night, Millie wakes up to use the bathroom and becomes frightened when she realizes that the doorknob is stuck. She starts to panic but eventually manages to open the door. Despite her relief, she can't shake off a sense of unease and foreboding. The relationship between Nina and Millie is complicated, to say the least. Nina's behavior is erratic and unpredictable, causing Millie to constantly feel on edge. At times, Nina can be warm and friendly, offering Millie her old clothes and insisting that she call her by her first name. However, just as quickly, Nina can turn on Millie, falsely accusing her of wrongdoing, creating chaos and messes in the house, and yelling at her to clean up. While Andrew is the only family member who treats Millie with kindness and respect, Cecilia is a different story. She behaves like a spoiled brat, making life even more challenging for Millie. Despite this, Millie tries her best to navigate the complicated family dynamics and do her job to the best of her abilities. However, things take a darker turn when Millie overhears gossip from other mothers and nannies about Nina's mental health. Curiosity getting the better of her, Millie searches Nina's bathroom cabinet and finds evidence of antipsychotic medication and other pills. It's a shocking discovery, but it explains a lot about Nina's unpredictable behavior. As if that weren't enough, Millie learns from the same sources that Nina spent time in a psychiatric hospital after attempting to harm Cecilia when she was just a baby. This revelation makes Millie even more wary of Nina's behavior, and she begins to worry about the safety of both herself and the children in her care. It's a challenging situation, and Millie is left to wonder how she should proceed. Nina and Andrew both confide in Millie separately about their desire to have a child. Andrew is particularly excited about the prospect of being a father, as Cecilia, Nina's daughter from a previous relationship, is not his biological child. However, their hopes are dashed when a fertility specialist informs them that Nina can no longer have children. This news deeply upsets the couple, and they struggle to come to terms with it. The next night, Millie overhears Nina yelling at Andrew about how a younger woman would make him happier. This causes Millie to feel uneasy, and she tries to cheer Nina up by booking tickets to a Broadway show. However, Nina gives Millie the wrong dates, causing them to miss the show. Despite this setback, Andrew and Millie end up going to the show together, and they have a great time. After the show, they go out for dinner and end up drinking too much. They decide to stay at a hotel in the city overnight. The mutual attraction between Andrew and Millie is too strong to resist, and they end up having sex. However, they both agree that it can never happen again. Unfortunately, Millie soon realizes that Nina is aware of what happened between her and Andrew. Nina becomes enraged and starts making Millie's life miserable. She even accuses Millie of stealing clothes that she had given her. Andrew defends Millie and confesses his feelings for her, which causes Nina to leave. After Nina departs, Andrew and Millie have a romantic encounter, during which Andrew expresses his desire to pursue a serious relationship with her. The next day, Andrew terminates Enzo's employment, citing his excessive presence in the house. While grocery shopping, Millie runs into a friend of Nina's who drops a bombshell. Nina installed a tracking app on Millie's phone. Millie is shocked and returns home, spends the day reading and processes the revelation. Later in the day, she receives a call from an unknown number warning her to stay away from Andrew, which she suspects is from Nina. After the warning, Millie starts packing her belongings to move into the main house. As Millie is packing, Andrew arrives home, and they spend the night together in Millie's room. However, Millie refrains from telling Andrew about the day's events involving Nina. In the middle of the night, Millie wakes up and needs to use the bathroom, but she finds herself locked in. She also discovers that her phone is missing, and 3 heavy books are inexplicably present in the room. The situation leaves Millie feeling uneasy and suspicious, wondering what could have happened and who might be responsible. A flashback sequence from Nina's perspective sheds light on the events of the past few years. Nina is compelled to abandon her college education and find work after getting pregnant from a drunken one-night stand. She finds employment at the company where Andrew is the CEO. Andrew, a charming and good-looking man, asks Nina out on a date, and they quickly fall in love. They marry soon after, but Nina soon realizes that Andrew has a hidden, sadistic side. Andrew frequently locks Nina in the attic and subjects her to torture as punishment for minor offenses. He even goes so far as to drug Nina and their baby and stage a situation where Cecilia is found in a bathtub, making it appear as though Nina is responsible. As a result, Nina is diagnosed with depression and delusions and is institutionalized in a psychiatric hospital, making it difficult for her to prove her innocence and making others less likely to believe her version of events. Nina seeks a way out of her abusive relationship with Andrew and turns to Enzo for help. Enzo shares that his sister had faced a similar situation and ended up losing her life due to her husband's abuse. Moved by Nina's situation, Enzo promises to assist her in escaping Andrew's clutches. To make her escape possible, Nina decides to hire someone who can take her place in the house. She comes across Millie and finds out through a private investigator that Millie has a troubled past. In high school, Millie killed a boy who tried to sexually assault her friend. Despite her beautiful appearance, Millie has a history of responding with violence to those who have wronged her. Nina takes a huge risk by hiring Millie to kill Andrew. Millie, desperate for work, accepts the job and agrees to stay despite Nina's mistreatment. To create the necessary circumstances for Millie to carry out the murder, Nina manipulates Millie into hating her. She frames herself as the victim in front of Andrew, causing him to feel sorry for her and offer her more sympathy. Nina also sets up situations that lead to Andrew and Millie spending more time alone together. Eventually, they sleep together, leading to Andrew throwing Nina out of the house. Nina's plan seems to have worked, but it comes at a terrible cost. She now knows that Millie has betrayed her by sleeping with Andrew. In a cruel and twisted turn of events, Andrew returns to the attic where he has locked Millie up and enacts punishment upon her for not replacing the books she read. He instructs her to balance 3 heavy books on her stomach for 3 hours as a form of physical punishment. When she fails to complete the task in the allotted time, he makes her do it again. However, Millie has a surprise in store for Andrew. Nina had left a bottle of pepper spray in the attic for her, and Millie uses it to defend herself against Andrew. She then steals Andrew's phone and locks him in the attic, turning the tables on him and subjecting him to the same kind of torture he had inflicted upon her. Meanwhile, Enzo, who has been watching the house, worries because Millie hasn't left the house in days. He calls Nina, insisting that they go back to help. When Nina returns, she finds the house empty. Assuming that Millie is locked upstairs, she unlocks the door to help and finds Andrew's decomposing remains. Millie appears, confessing to locking Andrew in for almost 6 days. She begins to cry, worried that she'll go back to prison for life. Nina is devastated by the turn of events and feels guilty for the role she played in the tragedy, not wanting Millie to bear the consequences of something she tricked her into doing. Nina asks her to leave. Nina's mind is flooded with confusion and disbelief when she learns that the detective's daughter was once engaged to Andrew, but changed her name and moved away without disclosing what happened. She can't help but wonder what might have occurred in the past that would cause someone to go to such lengths to escape him. The detective informs her that the police never investigated her claims of being locked in the attic due to the influence that the Winchesters had over the department, which leaves her feeling frustrated and helpless. As the detective rules Andrew's death an accident and closes the case, Nina feels a sense of disappointment and betrayal. She had hoped for some sort of justice or closure after all that she had been through. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, that there was still something she didn't know or understand. At Andrew's wake, Nina finds herself standing next to Evelyn Winchester, Andrew's mother. Evelyn tells Nina that she had disciplined Andrew as a child in a similar manner to how he had tortured Nina, praising her for stepping up and disciplining Andrew in this way. Nina is taken aback by the comment, feeling a mix of anger, confusion, and disbelief. She couldn't understand how someone could justify such abusive behavior towards their own child, and it made her feel even more disgusted by the entire situation. As Evelyn walks away, Nina is left to grapple with her complicated emotions and the harsh reality of what had happened. After Andrew's death, Nina and her daughter Cecilia moved to California. Millie remains behind and lives off the money that Nina sends her. Almost a year later, Millie applies for a job at another household. The woman who interviews her is someone to whom Nina recommended Millie. During the interview, Millie notices that the woman is being mistreated by her husband. Millie reassures the woman that she can help her and offers her support. This was the book summary of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. If you liked our work, please appreciate us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel.